Welcome everyone to Fanboy Frenzy, the only podcast turned YouTube video that's more electrifying than Storm's bedroom. I am your host Ryan Jarvis, and for this review, we're going to talk about State of Decay, the Year 1 edition for Xbox One. As you can see, I'm showing some gameplay footage here. Open up the map menu system. The game is actually very deep. I was very surprised. Last year I was playing it on the 360. And at the time, I was still playing Borderlands 2 and some other games, and so I really didn't spend a lot of time. But this game is actually very deep. You can see right here that there's a very large, as we're playing the game, there's a very large area for you to kind of traverse. Multiple vehicles, like right now I'm using a really big, huge freaking truck just to plow over zombies with. You can see that the game is actually, you're surrounded by zombies at all times. And from time to time, you'll run into what they call hordes, which are anywhere from 8 to 10, maybe 12 different zombies at any given time. But the one thing I have to say about this game starting off is you really have to use strategy. This game is not a game that you just go into and you just control and demolish all of the enemies. Most of the time, you can be overrun fairly easily. As a matter of fact, you'll notice that I actually have a gentleman on this mission with me. You can actually do that in this game. You start off with just two gentlemen. One of them's name's Marcus. Marcus is actually the main character at the very beginning of it. But unlike most games you play, for example, you play Super Mario. Say you hit a Goomba, you try to jump over the next one, and boom, he smacks you in your face. Well, guess what? You're dead, but you can always start over. Every other game, for the most part, that you play, in this day and age of interactive media, if you die, it's never eternal. In this game, though, if you die, your character's dead. Very interesting little concept. And what I did, actually, is I started and restarted this game probably 2 or 3 times because I continued to lose survivors. And survivors are very important because in this game, you will see as we continue here, you'll actually notice that there's basically a community. It's all about creating a community full of a large population of men and women that you can use in side missions to gain supplies. And the game has a ton of different zombies in it, which means you need a large group of survivors. Like, for example, I just killed what's called a feral zombie, which are rather larger versions and faster and stronger versions of traditional zombies. Very hard to take on by yourself. That's why this game really, when I talked about strategy, it's good to have more than one person with you at any given time. Now, the game is online cooperative, so you'll be able to play it with friends if you have some that have the game. And I do recommend doing so because you can get overrun rather quickly. In this particular case, you can see that it's a third-person shooter. Really has that look of a Grand Theft Auto, but certainly is not as polished. There's a number of glitches in the game. Matter of fact, sometimes there's game-breaking glitches where you can't talk to the NPCs, or whether it's hard to shut doors. But there's also great combat in the game overall. Like you can see right there, I just did a finishing move on one of the zombies where I just freaking kneed his head right into my knee, obviously, and exploded his brains all over the freaking place. But you can see right here, boom, they just come out of nowhere, man, like the shadow on you. It's kind of hard to keep up with all of them at times. Well, that guy had a bad day. But as you continue the game, you'll see that I'm going back into my vehicle, and I think I'm getting ready to head back to my outpost, which is what I wanted to talk about. I don't want to spend too long on this review because, in all honesty, it's a game that the best way I can explain it is it's like a live-action version or interactive version of The Walking Dead. I'm not talking the Telltale game. I'm talking the TV show. Because much like the TV show, you know, there are characters that you can be with from season to season that you start to get attached to. In this game, it's much the same. You can start playing with a character, like I did, for example, Marcus, the main character in the game at the beginning. After I played with him for about 5 or 6 hours, my first playthrough, he died, and it was all because I was negligent. I made a mistake, and this game is very unforgiving. I mean, if you get yourself trapped in a certain area with, 4, 5, 6 zombies, or Zeds as they call them, it's very easy to get overwhelmed and to get killed. I mean, it really is. That's why cooperative play is much needed, and to just be very wise about what you're doing. There's a lot of stuff in here that you'll run into, a lot of different zombie types, a lot of different vehicle types. Vehicles take damage, so you can't just use the same one over and over and over and over again. However, if you do have an outpost or you have a command center, you can actually take vehicles, park them outside your home base when they get all jacked up, and then usually when you shut the game off and come back within 10-12 hours or so, the vehicles will be back to normal, which is really helpful. But, you know, really in the game, I think the coolest part about it is I'm a big fan of collecting in games. And in this game, you have to scavenge a bunch. So if you're a big fan of Borderlands 2 or games such as that where you're always out trying to find better gear, trying to find supplies, this game's right up your alley because there's multiple communities that you have to search house to house and try to find supplies. You'll find guns. You'll find larger backpacks that you can carry more items. Look right here, big thing of horde. Boom! Smoked them. It's not done yet. You'll notice when you run into a horde, I'm a sidetrack right here. When you kill an entire horde, you get experience points, and you'll see it says up in the top corner, zombie horde killed. But anyway, back to the collecting. You can scavenge for different guns, different melee weapons, supplies like food, etc. For example, this area. At the very beginning of the game, you start off in like a church. And you know, as you begin to grow your survivor base, like right now you can see my population's 15. It was at 18 at one time, but I've lost a couple people. But right here, this place was completely open. There was nothing. Now I have a garden which produces food for the community, which allows them to be stronger. Right there you can see I have some areas for medical supplies. I had a workout area. I have a larger barracks for more people to get better sleep so that they're better on the field collecting supplies. When you go into here, you'll see that right here is all ammo I've collected, various weapons I've collected. Each of these items that you see, they all have a dollar amount by them. That's actually influence. If you look up in the top left in your menu, there's an influence value. And every time you do something, you actually, it takes away from that influence. So you have to keep collecting supplies, keep protecting the survivors. And even right here, you can see in the menu, you can upgrade your warehouse. You can put sniper towers. You can do so many different things. I mean, the game is really, really deep. I highly recommend it. I think if I was to rate it, I hate rating it in terms of, you know, 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5 stars, etc., because I think that's really unfair. The way I could say it is that if you like The Walking Dead, if you like Z Nation, if you like that type of television content, and you like the idea you're one of those guys that sit around and talk about what would happen if there was a real zombie apocalypse, well, I'd go here and I'd do this and I collect that, then you'd really, really enjoy this game. So I just want to let you know that I appreciate you watching this particular video review. We have a lot more coming this year. Fanboy Frenzy just relocated our headquarters, and we're still in transition. But you can visit us on Mixcloud.com and download our podcast /Fanboy Frenzy. Soon we'll be on iTunes as well. You can catch us on Facebook.com /Fanboy Frenzy as well. If you have any comments that you'd like to share or any options, any specific videos you'd like us to review, please email us even at fanboyfrenzy@comcast.net. We thank you all for tuning in again this week, and you survived. We survived another game review. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, fanboys and fangirls, and we will see you next time.